Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Megan. I am back on my YouTube. My goal is 2 videos every 4 weeks at a minimum. So far we're on track. Wish me luck. I am a new mom. I own my own business. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a gym in downtown San Jose with my husband, Tori. We own a clothing brand with it. We both have competed in fitness competitions. So I'm gonna be talking to you guys about everything in my life on this channel. So that's all things mom, all things being an entrepreneur, opening a business, running a business, fitness and health things. So definitely subscribe to this channel, please, and drop me a comment below on what type of content you guys wanna see based on what I just told you. Today is gonna be mostly for new parents and moms. I'm gonna be talking to you about 3 different sleep training programs that Tori and I tried with Knox. Knox is 7.5 months old now, and he is sleeping 11 to 12 hours through the night straight, which is amazing. I actually get more sleep now than I got before he was born, which is wild. So I'm gonna walk you through the 3 programs that we tried and tell you what I liked and what I didn't like about all of them and why we ended up picking the one that we did. So I will start with where Tori and I started. When we first found out that we were pregnant, we ran to the bookstore and bought a bunch of books, and we saw this book, 12 Hours Sleep by 12 Weeks. So I think the title in itself explains why we tried this one first. 12 hours sleep by 12 weeks. That sounds incredible. We bought this book and we read it like immediately. So that's another thing while we got it. It's a super easy read. It's like 140 page. We actually bought this book for friends of ours that were having babies, like family members. We were like, woo, our baby's gonna sleep by 12 hours by 12 weeks. Fair warning, when something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. This book was not all bad. There was some really good parts of it. The first weeks, like 1 through 6, they give you lots of good tips. They say, don't worry about sleep training. Baby's gonna be eating and doing kind of their own thing. One thing that I did get out of this book that was good, actually all the sleep training programs talk about this, is trying to introduce as few sleep aids as possible. So sleep aids are things like swings, to be able to fall asleep, rocking, pacifiers. Ultimately, what I found out is you need to be able to eliminate all those sleep aids for them to be able to sleep. The reason this didn't work out was because they start the sleep training program at 8 weeks. That's what's recommended in this book. Big thing is how much food the baby's getting, and that you are able to stretch the baby to be able to eat every 4 hours. Now let me tell you something. Knox is 7.5 months old, and never has he been able to go, maybe once or twice when he's like took a really long nap, but never has he been able to go 4 hours without eating. It was just not possible. When we took Knox to it was either his 2 or 3 month checkup, he was really underweight. He was at the 5th percentile of weight. So it was a little bit concerning to us. So the idea of making him wait even longer in between meals was it wasn't gonna work for him. And her whole big thing is that you cannot get a baby to sleep 12 hours without them being able to go 4 hours during the day in between meals, which is incorrect because Knox sleeps 12 hours, 11, 12 hours, and he eats about every 3 hours. So that's kind of where this book fell apart for us. The author of the book, Susie Giordano, the baby coach, if I'm saying that right, she talks a lot about, her big thing is how much food the baby is getting. Well, Knox is exclusively, especially for the first 12 weeks, exclusively breastfed. We barely gave him any bottles at all. So it's really hard to know with a breastfed baby how much they're getting. And her big thing was you have to make sure they're getting 24 ounces of milk minimum, which he probably was, but there's not really an easy way. Yes, you can weigh the baby before he eats and after he eats, but let me tell you, that's a process. But I think if you are doing formula with your baby, this program might work because formula tends to keep babies, from what I've heard, fuller longer. So stretching them 4 hours is probably more doable than a breastfed baby. So the first few weeks of Knox's life, we were reading this book and trying to follow everything that it was going through. Around that time too, I was talking to a really good friend of mine who, backstory, when we were over at her house years ago watching a World Cup soccer match, her son came in the room and actually asked for his nap. And I was like, who is this kid? And she started telling me like, he goes to bed every night at 7 o'clock, doesn't wake up till 7. And so I asked her, I was like, what was that program that you guys followed? And the program that she followed was something called Babywise. This is probably one of the more popular sleep training programs. So here's what I liked about this book. There's a lot of really good information on breastfeeding and colic and sleep aids and wake time and things to do with them. So there's a lot of really good information in here. I also liked that it wasn't forcing me to stretch his feedings every 4 hours, still allowed for lots and lots of feedings, and then it wasn't so dependent on if you don't get X amount of milk, then the baby's not gonna sleep through the night. So that's what I liked about this book. What I didn't like about this book was it is pretty long. I mean, there is a lot of good information, but if you're a new mom, like you don't really have a ton of time to go over all of this. More so, what I didn't love was, first, it's really big on following an order of wake, eat, play, sleep. Knox was a terrible napper. So there was one point where he was taking, like, I clocked it, he took a 17-minute nap. I couldn't feed him right when he woke up from his nap because he had just eaten like an hour ago. He wasn't hungry. That's where I struggled with that because his naps were so short. I was like, he's not one of these babies that's taking an hour-and-a-half nap every time. He's awake for so long. So that's where we struggled. The other thing was it has these merges. So basically you're kind of dropping feedings and consolidating times. And when I'm talking about merges, if you guys look at the book, like there's all these like sleep schedules in exactly like how your day should look. So I got stressed out because he wasn't following that. Like his merges were not, they were off. So that's where I got discouraged. But overall, there's a lot of really good tips in this book. It's just based on Knox's naps and that his natural sleep cycle was not fitting in with the schedules in this book. It was just a little bit too rigid for us. So good stuff in here. We kind of followed it, but ultimately not what we went with. Okay, so the third program that we tried and ultimately ended up going with was Taking Cara Babies. Now there's no book for Taking Cara Babies. She has an Instagram account and a blog, and she offers classes that are all delivered via video, which was one thing I really liked. Now, how I found her was I had made a Instagram post about how terrible Knox's naps were. I mean, it was like really stressing me out. He would nap 20 minutes. I'd have get nothing done during the day. My friend Paige sent me Taking Cara Babies Instagram account, and she said, I think this will really like help you. She has a lot of information on short naps. So that's how I found her. What I like about her was that she covers everything. Even from the newborn stage, she teaches you routines on how to teach babies to sleep independently as best as possible. When they're newborns, you still have to sometimes rock them and help them, but she has a whole process. So let me talk to you about the actual sleep training program with Taking Cara Babies, because that's what we actually went with. It's a 14-day program. It's all delivered via video content, which if you're watching this video, you probably like video content. I would highly recommend, if you are a new mom, taking her newborn class first and learning all those, teaching your baby all those skills, because I think it'll make sleep training at 5 months, like official sleep training, a lot easier because you're already have like a good base for them. Now, her method, it does involve crying. That is the one thing that I didn't like about it, but it's necessary. I'm not gonna walk you through how Knox did every single 14 days because that would just take too long. If you guys are interested in seeing that, you can go to my Instagram account in my highlights. I put day by day how Knox did with his sleep training program. It does involve some crying, but I followed everything that she said to a T, and it worked. Again, she was just so reassuring. One of the things that I thought was really impressive, Taking Cara Babies, Cara is her name, I was posting every single day how Knox was doing on my Instagram story and what our journey was with the 14-day sleeping training program. She reached out to me 3 times. It wasn't just some random person that's running her Instagram account. She left me voice memos with my name. It was not something pre-recorded, giving me tips and encouragement to keep going, which someone that has 1 million Instagram followers and so many people asking her questions, I was super impressed with just her as a person, and more importantly, her program works. What I loved about Taking Cara Babies, what it was the most flexible and what I call the most realistic. She addressed things like short naps and how to deal with those, which I needed help with. She addressed the fact that some babies do well with a dream feed and some babies don't, and how to test out and figure out if your baby does well with a dream feed. She has like a little program for you. She taught me about wake windows, which are hugely important. The thing about sleeping and sleep training is that it's not just what happens at night. Really, sleep training is the structure for your whole day. She had a whole plan on how to teach him how to fall asleep that laid a really good foundation. My only regret is that I wish I had started her program sooner. I think I started really following her program about 9 weeks for Knox, and I bought her newborn class, which I would highly recommend. It really just lays a good foundation, so when you start formal sleep training, it won't be as challenging for you. And she's also just really reassuring and telling you you're doing a good job and reminding you that babies are babies, and it's kind of sometimes like a 2 steps forward and a 1 step back, but just to be consistent. So she just had a lot of really good, realistic tips that will work for anyone. So that's why I ended up going with her formal sleep training program. Let me know if you guys have any specific questions in the comments below, and I'm really happy to help out and share with you more of my journey. But that's it for me today. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Thank you for joining, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe so you guys can keep checking out my videos. I really appreciate it. All right, have a great day, you guys. Bye.